Leaf peeping, pumpkin spice, and flannel. Fall has arrived here in New England, so come along as Have Love Will Travel makes an impromptu trip up to beautiful Stowe, Vermont to kick off the season.
So Brian and I have just made a little impromptu getaway up to Stowe, Vermont at probably the beginning of the leaf peeping season. This was about a 5-hour drive for us, and so we left work and headed up here. It's Friday, September 19th, and our first stop is at Stowe's Grant Restaurant. It's part of the inn here in downtown Stowe. And we're actually here during the weekend of the British invasion, where they do this classic British car showing and just some little games and contests. So right around the corner, downtown Stowe, there was a block party going on. So hopefully when we're done with dinner here, we'll be able to walk down and check a little of that out before it ends. So we will not be talking during the meal on video out of consideration for our fellow diners. So we will give a wrap up of our meals afterwards, but we will take some good shots of the pretty restaurant. Actually, we're eating in the bar area. We chose that. There was supposedly a great view of the lower restaurant and out to the town, and there's live music, so we chose that. So we just finished our dinner at Grant's. Atmosphere was wonderful. The vibe was great. We had live music. The bar is actually beautiful. It's a step above, or a few steps above, the main restaurant, with big panoramic windows down at the restaurant where you can see the village. So absolutely stunning. For that alone, I think it's a great choice for a nice dinner here in Stowe. Our server was very friendly. I think the service itself he provided was a little spotty and inconsistent. We didn't get offers for drink refills, and there was a big gap before he came back and checked on us after we got our meals. But in terms of the meals themselves, let's see, I first started off with my drink. I got the Hayman cocktail, which was a gin base. Let's see, and it was actually Bar Hill gin, lemon, orange, chamomile, honey. And it was really, really great. Reminded me a little bit of a bee's knees with the gin. It was $19, so factoring in the price, the taste was great, but I would give it a 9. And then Brian had a beer. He had the Hills, let's see, here we go. He had the Hills Farmstead Edward APA, and it is a malted wheat and with Mosaic, Centennial, and Cascade hops. And he said that he would give it an 8. He thought that it was really good. Not his favorite, but it was a really solid choice. And then in terms of the food, Brian chose to get a couple of the appetizers as his meal. He got the poutine with the cheese curds, and it was traditional poutine with the cheese curds and the gravy, which had a really strong, like, allspice warmth to it. You could taste the sage. It tasted a little bit like stuffing, French, especially if you know the French Canadian food. It had that true poutine taste. It was excellent. He gave that a 10. As for his wings, he ended up getting the maple chipotle wings, and that he gave a 7.5. I think that he felt, what was it you didn't
They
like?
were good, but they just weren't great.
Yeah. And then I got Well, I wanted a pork loin that they had with a salsa verde on top, and it wasn't available. So instead, I got the stuffed acorn. Mine was 20. Let's see. Mine was 28, and yes, it was stuffed with kale, apple, buckwheat, butternut squash, topped with romesco and feta cream, and finished with a maple carrot puree. It was a small acorn squash. They're not huge, but it was on the smaller side. So again, pricey for what it was, but I would give that a 9. We decided to get dessert, as we always do, and Brian got the maple walnut parfait, which was toasted walnut maple, caramelized apples with a sweet chocolate mousse. And all the desserts was $12. He did get some ice cream with that. I instead got the flourless chocolate torte, and that came with a raspberry puree, and it was supposed to have a creme anglaise, which when it came I asked because it didn't have it, and they said they were all out. I felt like that really was unfortunate because it was such a rich dessert between the chocolate, it's like a dark chocolate, and the raspberry. It was very, very rich, and so I ended up stealing some of Brian's ice cream. It was the smallest of slices for $12. This was a nice setting. It was, the food all tasted good. So I'll give it a little bit of a bonus for that, and let that help boost the score a little bit. But in terms of whether it was worth $12, I would have passed. But overall, I'll give the dessert a 7. So in the end, I'll say that this is a nice sound choice for a good meal in a good setting, and the flavor of the food was great. It might be a better option for you to get just share some little appetizers, and have a nice drink and listen to some live music. It's not a place where you're going to fill up. The value isn't maybe quite there, but it is a nice place to go. So we just finished having breakfast at the Butler's Pantry on Main Street in Stowe. It's a pretty antique building from I think it was 1830. We got here right before opening, about 15 minutes before, and there was a line, but they were able to accommodate all of us when we got in for the 8 o'clock sitting. And the service was friendly. It was very prompt. It was a beautiful setting. As you can see in the video, there was some pretty brick, some wood reliefs on the wall, and a beautiful bar. And the menu was pretty varied. We were drawn by the biscuits and gravy. Whenever we see that on a menu, we truly are biscuits and gravy connoisseurs. Actually, Brian is. I'm just a spectator, but we did come in for that. I ended up getting pantry breakfast, which came with 2 eggs, any style. It came with either your choice of the homemade biscuit or bread toasted from a local bakery, Kiplinger's Bakery, and then it also came with your choice of home fries or grit cake, which is kind of like polenta. It's grits that are pressed and baked with some chives and cheddar cheese on top, and there's also some cheese baked into it. And as for your choice of meat, a maple bacon, ham, or sausage, and I actually chose to get the bacon crispy, which it was perfectly cooked. The eggs were perfectly cooked over easy. The toast was well toasted. They didn't put the butter on for me, which I always am glad about. That way I can moderate how much butter I put on. And I really enjoyed the grit cake. That was the star for me. The bacon was great, but I only had 1 piece. I'm not a big meat eater at breakfast. And my coffee was very good. I did think that the temperature was a little bit cooler for the toast and the egg, but the grit cake came out really hot. Then as for Brian's meal, he got the sausage and gravy. It came with a gravy that was a maple sausage, a maple flavored gravy with sausage, and he had his eggs scrambled, and he got a little fruit cup with it. And Brian, what did you think of your meal?
So it was good. I think it was kind of law of diminishing returns for me. The biscuits, it was pricey. I mean, it was $21. It was 18. It was 18, and then you had $3 for an egg. You got a lot, but it was like one biscuit. The biscuit was really good. The gravy was lukewarm, although the egg and the biscuit helped kind of compensate for that. And it was sweet. Like, it was a little too much sweet. I mean, it was a maple sausage that was with it, and it was good at first, and then the more you ate it, the more it just kind of became a little bit too sweet for me.
Do you think the gravy was maple too, or
no? It was the sausage. It was just the sausage. It was a maple sausage, and I think that it just really permeated throughout it. So for me, I would probably give it. And I do love biscuits and gravy, and I do think the biscuit itself was really good, and they gave you a nice portion of eggs. But for me, it was just a little bit too much. So I'm gonna probably go like maybe a 7 or a 7.5 on it. I would probably try something different next time.
Yeah, same with me. I enjoyed trying the grit cake, but even that, which was my favorite part of the dish, wasn't something that I would probably go for a lot. So I would only give my breakfast a 7. Although the service was wonderful, the setting was great, it was pricey. Mine was $19.50. Now, that might just be the going rate. As we found at dinner last night, it was expensive, so it was a little bit of a pricier vacation spot. So, it's par for the course, probably. We'll see. We'll compare tomorrow when we go somewhere else for breakfast. So as for what's going to happen now, we actually stayed locally at the Fairfield Waterbury Stowe, which was a great place. I'm glad we chose that. And we just came into town. We had breakfast. We got here for opening, so we didn't have to have a long wait, which was great. It's about 8:45. The shops don't open till 9, some 9, some 10. So we're going to stroll along this beautiful main street. I am so super excited. This place is gorgeous. It's so much my vibe. I think like a lot of people love fall. And even though it's not peak yet for the foliage, I think we caught a good weekend where we got a little bit of it, and we're not going to have to battle as many people crowd-wise as we would in a couple of weeks. There's also a British Invasion car show this weekend, so we're going to try to catch that. And shopping, hiking, eating, cars. We're going to try to pack it all in.
sing a new tune. Weight of it all won't get me down. All that has started set free. Wind in my hair, sweet essence of me.
We're at Glen Falls. It's a scenic recreational path, this gorgeous cascading waterfall, multiple levels cascading down. It is part of the Putnam State Forest near Stowe Vermont. It was a short ride, and it was a short hike, maybe about 15 minutes to get here, and there was boardwalk most of the way. There are some increased steps and a little bit of effort needed at the end, but definitely worth it. Doesn't take much time.
All right, so we're here at the Alchemist, and this is a great spot. It's you know, a lot of open space for people. There's dogs, there's games, there's kids running around, and it's just a cool spot. And inside's even cooler. So you know, I'm not a traditional IPA drinker, but when in Rome, I came and we got the I got the heavy topper, and it's really good. I mean, you're gonna try it right from, you know, the source. You know, it's a little bit different, so it's really good. You know, it was inexpensive. It was $6 for the pour, which I think is pretty reasonable for where we are. But this is a great spot. They have a food truck here that looks like it has a bunch of different things too. It smells good. I know we just ate a little while ago, but you know, it's definitely a consideration for next time. And I think that, you know, I like it. I like it. It's definitely along one of the nicer breweries we've been to, as far as inside and kind of just hanging out outside. So I think it's a good stop that we made.
We did it in 17 minutes and how many seconds?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know. We kind of guesstimated. We kind of we honestly shot a little bit under what I think.
They said 20 to 40.
It was a safe 17 minutes. They say most people do it in 20 to 40. So, yay us. Good morning. So it's Sunday morning. We headed to Stowe on Friday night, so we are heading home today. I just wanted to recap our dinner from last night. We went to the Bench, which was on Mountain Road in Stowe. It had decent reviews. It is a restaurant that really promotes the fact that it has a wood-burning fire oven. So they do a lot of pizzas and grilled foods. We got a table with like a 10-minute wait. We had actually gone to their online wait list, and at that time it was around 5:15. They did not have a wait. They said come on in, but by the time we got there about 15-20 minutes later, we only had to wait 10 minutes, so it wasn't bad. They have 2 rooms. We were sat in the room with a big bar, and service was attentive. It was great. Brian ended up ordering just a Diet Coke to drink, and I had a water. And then he decided on 2 appetizers for his meal. He went with the pulled pork mac and cheese and the rubbed wings. They were both advertised as having the meat being smoked. As for the mac and cheese, that itself, it was hard to tell if it was actually cooked in a smoker or if the smoke was from being cooked with like the wood burning oven. But he enjoyed it. He gave it an 8.5. The mac and cheese itself was great. It probably had the Vermont cheddar. It was cavatappi, which is a great pasta for mac and cheese. And then with the wings, he really liked those. He gave those a 9. Again, not sure whether the smoke was a true smoker cooking situation or not, but it did have a nice flavor. He enjoyed the dry rub. I had the meatloaf, which came over some garlic smashed and some grilled squash. I love the grilled squash. It was summer squash, like in little half moon crescents, and they had a char on them, and they were really good. The potatoes were okay, and as for it, they were okay. And the meatloaf itself was stodgy. It was dry, and it looked like it was cooked and then again maybe like put on top of something to give it a little bit of a char. And so overall, I give mine a 7. It wasn't terrible. It was just okay. We both decided to split the pineapple upside down cake for dessert, and that was great. I'm gonna say an 8 on that. It was, or an 8. What do you say, Brian? 8, yeah. It was a little bit dense with the cake, but it did have some moisture to it. The pineapple on top was grilled. It came with the cherries that remind me of the cherries that you would have inside an old-fashioned, one of those rich cherries, a few of those on top. And what really made it for me was the shredded coconut. It gave a little texture, and it also gave a little flavor to it. So that was great. After that, we were going to do a lantern tour in downtown Stowe. And I was excited about it, but it didn't start till 8, and we packed in a lot yesterday. So we just lingered over dinner and then decided to head back to the hotel. So this morning we got up and we got our stuff together to leave our hotel. Where we stayed was the Residence Inn in Waterbury, Stowe. I'm not going to give a full review on the hotel just because we did get it at a friends and family discount, but I do highly recommend it, in all honesty, as a place that is a good value. It does have included breakfast. We did pass on that and instead went to Mountain Road in Stowe, and we made a stop at the Stowe Bakery. And we had seen it several times yesterday. We had seen it online. It was #1 on TripAdvisor. It's the type of place you go up to the counter and you order, and then you can find a seat. There were a total of, I think, 6 4-seater tables, and then there was a bar. So it can fit a small amount of people in there. And it was kind of waxing and waning with how busy it was getting. We got there right at 8 o'clock, and the front staff was really friendly. They kept things moving. The line never backed up. We both decided to get one of the things they're known for, which was their biscuit breakfast sandwiches. We got the Lord, which is an omelet. They call it an omelet. It's like a scrambled egg, and it was cheddar cheese, bacon on ours, and the buttery biscuit. It was messy. It was a soft, thick, warm biscuit, so mine fell apart. Brian was better at holding it together, but they had forks and things there. It was a really cute place. They have, it was warm. We were under the heater, so it was blowing our stuff off the table a little bit, but it was cozy. It was cute. We both really enjoyed our sandwiches. I think I would give it a 9. Brian is agreeing. And then we had to go back to the bakery case and look at stuff there too. But we didn't eat any other sweets, just our sandwiches. They were around $8.50, and I also got a latte with almond milk. They had all your different choices for milks. They had all different shots that you could put in. I had maple caramel put in, and I did get a little heart made on the top of my latte, which is always really sweet. I added a little cinnamon, and it's very, very good. So although we didn't eat a pastry with our meal, we did grab a couple to go. So I got a cinnamon crumb nut coffee cake. It looks like a muffin. And Brian got the cinnamon roll. And they both looked yummy. So we'll see if we get into those later today. So we're going to be heading out of Stowe around by noontime today. We went to have our breakfast at the Stowe Bakery. Now we're back on the main street. We're going to hit a couple of the shops that we really liked but kind of breezed through yesterday. Then we're going to go to the Stowe's Farmers Market, which is between 10 or 10:30 and 2 on Sundays from May till the middle of October. So we're excited about that, to see what local food and wares are there. And then we're going to make our way back through Waterbury and make a couple of stops at some other places along the way and head home. This was a very impromptu, this one was impromptu. We decided on Wednesday we were coming and leaving on and going on Friday. And we did find that last minute, you're going to be hard pressed to find dinner reservations. We were lucky for Friday night, and some of the restaurants that don't take dinner reservations, you can wait on a wait list, and we just planned it so the timing was pretty good for not having to wait too long. But besides that, if you live in the area, I encourage everyone to make a weekend trip up. We are not at the peak of foliage season, and I know it gets very busy up here, but I thought this was a great weekend to come with the British invasion. We got to see so many great classic cars. We got that fall feel. We got to explore some nice little hikes. They have some easy hikes with beautiful end results with the waterfalls, and I think it was just the perfect time. I'm in love with Stowe. Brian and I are both people that have spent a lot of time going up to the White Mountains and Conway specifically, and as much as that's still a special place to us, we both feel that as adults, coming together, this trumps it, and we will be back. In fact, look out, I'm planning on coming back in December and highlighting some of the Christmas things that will be going on. We're at the Cold Hollow Cider Mill, and as soon as you pull up, you can smell the apple and cinnamon, the spices. It's just 100% fall vibes. And outside they have some of these little gourds and pumpkins. Just grab the McIntosh apples, which I definitely want to get. So we're going to go inside right now and just really enjoy the whole apple-ness.